And now it's time for a stunt of my own. I'm going to attempt to repair our Ferrari's transmission issues without destroying my wallet.
When we checked in last, we were able to resolve our Ferrari's major electrical system issues without a trip to the dealer, dodging a major bullet. Following a few minute test drive, the Ferrari broke again, this time not engaging any gear, flashing the transmission light on the dashboard and leaving it to be pushed back into the garage. It seems that when one thing is repaired, another breaks, and since it's a Ferrari, it's bound to be extremely expensive.
And that's what it seems like on the surface when you're dealing with a Ferrari, but as we've proven already by visiting Specialized ECU Repair, getting one of our ECUs replaced and reprogrammed by them, there's unconventional ways of fixing cars like this that could cost you about the same amount of money that it would on a used BMW or Mercedes. I'm about to show you exactly what I'm talking about.
When you do a Google search on a Ferrari 360 and F1 transmission issues, the majority of the posts discuss a failure in the system's pump motor. The F1 transmission relies on a pressurized system in order to shift gears. Lose pressure and you lose your transmission. It makes sense, and this is likely our issue. When you first open the door to get in the car, you should hear this. That's the noise of the pump priming, getting itself ready for you to drive. I had noticed while I was working on the car before that this noise was intermittent. It happened sometimes, and sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it was for a long duration, and sometimes short. But in the moment of failure, shutting the car off, turning it back on, there was no pump noise, and my old footage proved that. Now, a few hours after uploading the last video, the car had time to cool off, and what do you know? The pump kicked back on, and the transmission shifted fine.
That light that was on down there went away. So right now, if I go ahead and try to put the car into gear, even with the engine not running, okay, you could hear it clicking into gear. It will go into second. And there's the pump. So the pump is still doing what it should be doing currently. So even though we've proven that this car will probably operate just fine right now, it's a question of how long will it operate for until it gets broken down. Maybe I could be 500 feet from here or 5 miles from here. And we don't want to deal with that again. So let's go ahead and remove that motor and figure out a better, cheaper solution to repairing our issue. The popular DIY method in repairing this issue is just to separate the pump from its motor and replace the motor itself. Because if you undo the fluid pump, what happens is you'll seep transmission fluid everywhere, but more importantly, you'll introduce air into the lines and you'll have to bleed the entire F1 system. Again, it won't shift. There's air in there. You got a clear view of the pump right now. It's the motor that's behind here that you probably can't see very well, but there's only 4 fasteners holding this on. There's one 10 millimeter right here, one underneath it, and then there's 2 Torx, one here and one diagonal from it. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. Our pump should just come right out of place. There we go. All right. Little security safety tab so that doesn't come undone. Now our harness is out. Now we should be able to wiggle this right out of its place. There it is.
Now it's time for our stunt. Fixing this issue without destroying my wallet. Remember, for the most part, eBay has been my go-to place when it comes to getting any sort of car parts, new or used. But when it comes to exotics, it can be very tricky to navigate. In the case of our pump, according to the online forums, it retails for around $1,000 US at the parts counter in your local Ferrari dealership. So when you search the part number on eBay and find it for around $700, you think it's a good deal. But they also have a third-party one at $400, which seems even better. But in reality, all these prices are basically a ripoff. This motor and pump is as basic as it gets. Send power to it, it spins the motor, in turn spinning the pump, cycling the fluid through the transmission. The motor is similar to that of a starter, although it will be in use more frequently. When you look at the sticker on the pump motor, it is stamped Magneti Marelli, which is an OE supplier of parts to European automakers. Magneti Marelli developed the F1 transmission for this Ferrari. Similar variants of the transmission also came in Aston Martins, Lamborghinis, BMWs, Maseratis, and wait for it, Alfa Romeo and Fiat. The optional, more expensive Ferrari F1 transmission is similar to what comes in a Fiat Punto and an Alfa 147. The part number is different for this pump between the Alfa and the Ferrari, but look at the photos here. Can you tell any difference? Well, I found an Alfa pump, brand new for only $240 shipped. I ordered it, and it came in only 2 days via DHL, and here's what I found.
Here's the original pump motor that came out of the Ferrari, manufactured by Magneti Marelli. Here is the replacement one that I ordered from the UK for an Alfa Romeo. These look identical in every single way. Look at where the mounting brackets are. The wiring harnesses are absolutely identical. Everything about these are the same except for the price and the part numbers. And it was just a quick Google search that helped me save literally like $500. Now, this did ship, like shown in the photos, as a complete pump assembly. Here's the pump right here. I just have it removed because for the time being, we're just gonna install the motor.
When I bought my first salvage auction Italian car, the Lamborghini Gallardo, and started sourcing parts, I initially thought I had made a huge mistake. The used costs on eBay for most parts I needed were exorbitant. By shopping outside of the US on European wholesale websites instead of eBay and shopping cross-platform, I was able to cut costs drastically while still buying OEM parts. In a lot of cases, brand new parts were cheaper than used ones. The story with the Ferrari F1 pump is similar to a ton of parts across auto manufacturers. Parts are supplied by outside companies and used cross-platform all the time. Recently, I showed you an Audi fan that I installed on my Lamborghini. It was the same part, slightly different part number, but 80 to 90% off the list price from Lamborghini. If there's an issue here, it's a lack of fluidity and knowledge. Since most Ferrari and Lamborghini parts aren't as common as, say, a Ford Focus part, the lack of fluidity can make the market demand on a part seem like it's rare or hard to find, when sometimes it's as common as the part on an Alfa or a VW. The lack of knowledge allows parts resellers to jack up the price, especially here in the US, to buyers that don't know any better and expect a parts price to be expensive when shopping for their Ferrari. Now please, if there's a market for this, and clearly there is, I don't mind anyone for capitalizing on it. I just personally prefer not to pay several times more for the same part if I don't have to.
Another weak link in the F1's electrical system is this relay right here. From what I've read, these will weld themselves shut internally, and then your pump will run way longer than it should, burning the pump out. That's a 30 amp relay, and Challenge Stradale cars came with 50 amp relays from the factory. But there's a lot of guys selling 50 amp relays that fit this car for $60 or $70 on eBay. Even worse, that original factory one at the Ferrari dealership is $100. Well, just do a little research online, find the appropriate 50 amp relay that fit, like I did, and right here, this relay only cost me about $12 shipped. I hope this video has demystified the exotic car parts buying experience just a little bit. If you feel like you learned something, be sure to hit that like button. Just because something fits a Ferrari or a Lamborghini doesn't always make it expensive, although there are a lot of complicated and exclusive parts that go into some of these cars that are pricey. You should be able to buy most of them for a reasonable price, unless we're talking about something super rare or super exclusive like a Bugatti or an Enzo. Always do a little bit of research and look in more than one place, and you'll likely find exactly what you're looking for. Now, if you're not already following me on Instagram, you can go right here or click the link in the description box below, where I post a lot of Ferrari, Lamborghini, and other salvage car content before anything goes live here on YouTube. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today, and I'll catch you very soon.